The objective of the labor inspection is to further strengthen the implementation of the visitorial and enforcement powers under the Labor Code as renumbered towards securing a higher level of compliance with labor laws and standards and ensuring continuity and sustainability of compliance at workplaces. For this purpose, the Department of Labor and Employment delegates this function to the regional offices with the issuance of a list of labor inspectors who are given the authority of conduct inspection, which covers all private establishments, including their branches and workplaces in the regions. The regional offices, through the labor inspectors, enforce labor laws and social legislation through the conduct of routine inspection, complaint inspection, and occupational safety and health investigation. Upon the discretion of the Secretary, special inspections may be conducted as may be deemed necessary. With the provision for mobile devices and gadgets, the DOLE developed an inspection management information system. An important feature of the system is data capture and transmittal from the field in real time, as an electronic checklist is filled up through the use of mobile devices and gadgets. Data are instantly available for viewing and processing to generate reports, statistics, and summons, including real-time monitoring of decent work indicators based on the country's decent work profile. The TAV, or Technical and Advisory Visit, aims to provide assistance to the micro-establishments or establishments that have 1 to 9 employees to be sustainable, productive, and competitive. It also aims to transition our micro-establishments to the formal economy that is profitable while also complying with our labor laws and occupational safety and health standards. There are different ways or modalities to avail TAV. First is the online method. Establishments can enroll in the self-paced technical and advisory modules through our learning management system. For establishments that opted to go with online, they must accomplish the modules within 1 month from the time they registered. Second is on-site. The DOLE regional, field, and provincial offices conduct on-site or face-to-face orientation for the technical and advisory services, wherein micro-establishments are invited to attend. Third is hybrid setup. Establishments can enroll in on-site sessions and attend virtual meetings or webinars using various online platforms like MS Teams, Viber, Skype, Zoom, or Google Meet. The establishment report system was created to streamline the documents and reports required from establishments in the private sector. Several administrative requirements will be submitted through this site as a central platform. Through this system, employers no longer need to physically submit establishment reports to DOLE, since reportorial requirements can be completed remotely through the ERS. There are various types of report that can be submitted through the establishment report system. These are telecommuting report, job displacement report, flexible work, 13th month report, and employer's work accident or illness report. The establishment report system ensured the safety of employees of Dole and its clients by minimizing the risk of contracting the COVID-19, since the need for physical contact has been removed in this process. The objective of the labor inspection is to further strengthen the implementation of the visitorial and enforcement powers under the Labor Code as renumbered, towards securing a higher level of compliance with labor laws and standards and ensuring continuity and sustainability of compliance at workplaces. For this purpose, the Department of Labor and Employment delegates this function to the regional offices with the issuance of a list of labor inspectors who are given the authority of conduct inspection, which covers all private establishments, including their branches and workplaces in the regions. The regional offices, through the labor inspectors, enforce labor laws and social legislation through the conduct of routine inspection, complaint inspection, and occupational safety and health investigation. Upon the discretion of the Secretary, special inspections may be conducted as may be deemed necessary. With the provision for mobile devices and gadgets, the DOLE developed an inspection management information system. An important feature of the system is data capture and transmittal from the field in real time, as an electronic checklist is filled up through the use of mobile devices and gadgets. Data are instantly available for viewing and processing to generate reports, statistics, and summons, including real-time monitoring of decent work indicators based on the country's decent work profile. The TAV, or Technical and Advisory Visit, aims to provide assistance to the micro-establishments, or establishments that have 1 to 9 employees, to be sustainable, productive, and competitive. It also aims to transition our micro-establishments to the formal economy that is profitable, while also complying with our labor laws and occupational safety and health standards. There are different ways or modalities to avail TAV. First is the online method. Establishments can enroll in the self-paced technical and advisory modules through our learning management system. For establishments that opted to go with online, they must accomplish the modules within 1 month from the time they registered. Second is on-site. The DOLE regional, field, and provincial offices conduct on-site or face-to-face orientation for the technical and advisory services, wherein micro-establishments are invited to attend. Third is hybrid setup. Establishments can enroll in on-site sessions and attend virtual meetings or webinars using various online platforms like MS Teams, Viber, Skype, Zoom, or Google Meet. The establishment report system was created to streamline the documents and reports required from establishments in the private sector. Several administrative requirements will be submitted through this site as a central platform. Through this system, employers no longer need to physically submit establishment reports to DOLE, since reportorial requirements can be completed remotely through the ERS. There are various types of report that can be submitted through the establishment report system. These are telecommuting report, job displacement report, flexible work, 13th month report, and employer's work accident or illness report. The establishment report system ensured the safety of employees of Dole and its clients by minimizing the risk of contracting the COVID-19, since the need for physical contact has been removed in this process. The objective of the labor inspection is to further strengthen the implementation of the visitor rule and enforcement powers under the Labor Code as renumbered, towards securing a higher level of compliance with labor laws and standards and ensuring continuity and sustainability of compliance at workplaces. For this purpose, the Department of Labor and Employment delegates this function to the regional offices with the issuance of a list of labor inspectors who are given the authority of conduct inspection, which covers all private establishments, including their branches and workplaces in the regions. The regional offices, through the labor inspectors, enforce labor laws and social legislation through the conduct of routine inspection, complaint inspection, and occupational safety and health investigation. Upon the discretion of the Secretary, special inspections may be conducted as may be deemed necessary. With the provision for mobile devices and gadgets, the DOLE developed an inspection management information system. An important feature of the system is data capture and transmittal from the field in real time, as an electronic checklist is filled up through the use of mobile devices and gadgets. Data are instantly available for viewing and processing to generate reports, statistics, and summons, including real-time monitoring of decent work indicators based on the country's decent work profile. The TAV, or Technical and Advisory Visit, aims to provide assistance to the micro-establishments, or establishments that have 1 to 9 employees, to be sustainable, productive, and competitive. It also aims to transition our micro-establishments to the formal economy that is profitable, while also complying with our labor laws and occupational safety and health standards. There are different ways or modalities to avail TAV. First is the online method. Establishments can enroll in the self-paced technical and advisory modules through our learning management system. For establishments that opted to go with online, they must accomplish the modules within 1 month from the time they registered. Second is on-site. The DOLE regional, field, and provincial offices conduct on-site or face-to-face orientation for the technical and advisory services, wherein micro-establishments are invited to attend. Third is hybrid setup. Establishments can enroll in on-site sessions and attend virtual meetings or webinars using various online platforms like MS Teams, Viber, Skype, Zoom, or Google Meet. The establishment report system was created to streamline the documents and reports required from establishments in the private sector. Several administrative requirements will be submitted through this site as a central platform. Through this system, Employers no longer need to physically submit establishment reports to DOLE since reportorial requirements can be completed remotely through the ERS. There are various types of report that can be submitted through the establishment report system. These are telecommuting report, job displacement report, flexible work, 13th month report, and employer's work accident or illness report. The establishment report system ensured the safety of employees of DOLE and its clients by minimizing the risk of contracting the COVID-19 since the need for physical contact has been removed in this process.
Good afternoon po sa ating lahat. Sa ating pong mga partners on safety and health, welcome po sa ating ika-16 na episode ng Webinar Wednesdays. Sa ating pong Facebook Live viewers, maraming salamat po sa patuloy na pagsubaybay at pagsuporta sa aming episodes ng Webinar Wednesdays, kung saan maaari po nating matutunan o madagdagan po ang ating kaalaman patungkol sa occupational safety and health. So today po, we will be discussing an interesting topic, which is TB in the workplace. Before anything else po, allow me to discuss briefly why we choose this topic. Number 1 po, TB remains to be a public health problem. Bakit po kaya ang TB ay isa pa rin po sa public health problem? Siguro po kailangan pa po natin ng mas malawak na impormasyon at edukasyon tungkol sa sakit na ito. Number 2, the majority of cases come from economically productive individuals. Number 3, TB disease has effects on the productivity of the individual, workplace, and the country. So ayun po. Siyempre po kapag po nagkakasakit po tayo, maaari po itong makaapekto sa ating pang-araw-araw na pakikisalamuha bilang individual at makakaapekto din po ito sa ating trabaho at sa ating bansa. And number 4, we have enough legal basis to implement a workplace TB program. So tayo po sa DOLE ay meron pong mga labor advisories at legal basis po para po sa implementation ng TB program sa ating workplaces. So ang ating pong panauhin ngayong hapon ang magbibigay po sa atin ng karagdagang kaalaman tungkol sa TB or tuberculosis in the workplace. Before we continue po, let us all bow our heads for a short prayer.
Let us bow our head and put ourselves in the holiness of God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Dear Almighty and ever-loving God, we glorify and thank your name. You have showered us with so much blessings, and your presence continuously remind us of your faithfulness and guidance. May we humbly ask you to shower our speaker today of your greatest inspiration, so that he may share the most of his knowledge, his field of expertise, and to his respective topics. May we also absorb the invaluable knowledge, experiences, and put it into practice that we may learn today. Your infinite blessing would mean the success of this webinar. May we be a living witnesses of your genuine love through the enactment of the knowledge acquired through this activity. We ask this in the name of your Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
To continue po, allow me to introduce our esteemed resource person who will discuss the topic on workplace tuberculosis. Our lecturer for today had her Master of Public Health at the National University of Singapore. Her residency is at the Department of Family and Community Medicine, UP-PGH, where she was a chief resident. Obtained her Doctor of Medicine degree at Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila. Her BS Public Health cum laude at the University of the Philippines, Manila. was the chair for the Commission on Specialty Board in Family Medicine at the Philippine Academy of Family Physicians. She was a former Associate Dean for Research and College Secretary of the College of Public Health, UP Manila. Currently, she is a Family Medicine and Occupational Health Physician, Associate Professor, Assistant to the Dean for Academic Affairs of the Department of Environmental and Occupational Health College of Public Health, UP Manila, and also an occupational health consultant of the Health Security Science Group, occupational health technical consultant for ILO, WHO, DOH, and private enterprises. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Vivian F. Fadrilan Camacho. Dr. Camacho, you may now have the virtual floor.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gladys. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Thank you for that generous introduction. I am honored to join all of you here sa webinar, a Wednesday webinar natin. I am thankful to the Department of Labor and Employment, Bureau of Working Conditions for this invitation to grace your webinar for this topic, or for this very relevant topic on TB in the workplace. Ayan po. So thank you once again. And let me just share my screen so that we can start our discussion already. All right. So ayan. So hopefully you can see my slide. All right. So as mentioned by Ms. Gladys earlier, our topic for this afternoon is tuberculosis or TB in the workplace. Ayan. So ngayong hapon, hopefully bago matapos ang ating session ngayong hapon ay masagot ng ating mga nakikinig po sa atin ang mga katanungan na ito. Unang-una, what is the magnitude of the problem on TB? Problema pa rin ba siya? Kasi matagal na natin siyang naririnig, di ba? Yung TB, bata pa lang tayo, naririnig na rin natin siya. Second question, what are the characteristics of the TB agent? Yung mikrobyo o yung bacteria na nagkukos ng TB? Ano ba yung mga karaniwang clinical manifestations o mga sintomas? Paano ito nadadiagnose? Paano ma-prevent at syempre yung management? Don't worry dahil syempre mapag-usapan yung clinical aspect pero we will make it very simple and understandable at yung talaga makaka-relate po tayong lahat. All right? And then ito syempre very relevant dahil sa workplaces, what are the risk factors for TB infection in the workplace? What makes a workplace high risk for TB infection? Pag-uusapan natin yan. At panghuli, syempre, how do we control the spread of TB in the workplace? Paano makakatulong ang mga workplaces, ang mga employers para naman makakontribute sa pag-solve sa matagal ng problema natin on tuberculosis. Alright? So, reviewin lang natin yung extent ng problema ng tuberculosis sa buong mundo at syempre, but of course we'll focus sa local context dito sa ating bansa at syempre sa workplaces later. So TB, perhaps alam nyo na po, or tuberculosis is a communicable disease that has infected about a quarter of the world's population. So ganun kadami ang naapektuhan na ng TB, na around 10 million cases and around 1.2 million deaths just in 2019. That's according to the World Health Organization. At nakakalungkot po na dahil sa kabila ng napakarami natin programa, batas, policies on TB, mga guidelines, at syempre yung availability ng gamot, the Philippines ranks 4th. Number 4 tayo. 4th worldwide in terms of tuberculosis incidents or cases. Number 4 tayo. So, nabanggit kanina ni Ms. Gladys, bakit problema pa rin siya despite despite all of these policies, programs, and yung medications that are available naman. And then worldwide, TB is one of the top 10 causes of death and the leading cause from a single infectious agent, no? Mas mataas pa ito sa HIV. At about 1 million Filipinos have active tuberculosis. At syempre nakakalungkot, nearly 70 Filipinos die every day from this infection, no? 70, buti sana kung isa lang, yung 70. Okay? So, talagang problema pa rin po ang tuberculosis. Alright? Now, nabanggit na rin ito ni Ms. Gladys. Bakit ba siya natin pinag-uusapan ngayon? Actually, a few weeks ago, we also had a topic on, same here, no, dito sa Webinar Wednesdays natin na on TB, pero nakafocus siya yung pag-uusap noon mga nakaraang linggo ay sa mga batas naman, no? But this time around, ito naman iba ang approach natin pagdating sa pag-uusapan natin, no? Para mas lalo pa nating yun nga, no, alamin bakit nga ba problema pa rin ang TB at paano natin ito masusolusyonan lalo na sa ating mga workplaces, no? As mentioned earlier, more than half of the individuals affected by this condition are or belong to the economically productive age between 15 to 54 years old. So yung ating po mga manggagawa tayo, yung mga workers, ayan, ito po yung pinaka naapektuhang age group. No? So imagine niyo na lang kung marami sa atin ang may sakit ng TB, tayo yung nagtatrabaho sa ating mga bahay, paano na lang po tayo yung income natin? Ano po? So TB without early prevention and diagnosis can have a negative impact on economic activities through workflow disruption. Siyempre, pag may absent na worker, magkakaroon ng tawag dito ng disruption or hindi tuloy-tuloy ang operations. Eventually, it will cause reduced productivity. At ito yung mga cost, 'di ba? Mahal magkasakit. There might be increased direct costs, no? Pagdating syempre sa gamot, sa konsultasyon. Pero later on malalaman natin pagdating sa TB, hindi naman kailangan maging mahal, no, ang pagpapagamot. And indirect cost, ano tong mga indirect cost na to? Syempre pag ang worker ay may sakit na TB, absent yan ng medyo ilang linggo, no? And syempre ito ay makaka-affect sa operations nga, and therefore reduce productivity, and also yung pag-hire, no, paghahanap ng kapalit nito habang nagpapagaling ang ating worker patient, no. So yun yung mga impact nito, no, pagdating sa ekonomiya natin. Now, gaano ba dalas nare-report ang TB, no, in our workplaces based sa Integrated Survey on Labor and Employment na ginagawa. Ang survey po ito every 2 years, no, sa mga non-agricultural workplaces with employees na 20 or more workers. Lumalabas na nasa top occupational diseases ang tuberculosis, no, as you can see here in the table. All right? So ibig sabihin ho ay may mga kaso ng TB na nare-report in workplaces, no? Ayan, so yan po yung tuberculosis. Now, binanggit na natin, no, kanina, pero ito lang just to reiterate the impact of TB on the economy or our businesses. Sabi nga natin, absent, no, for a few weeks ang ating empleyado para magpagaling, no? And usually itong TB in the workplace program can be part of the corporate responsibility of an establishment, 'di ba? Yung mga CR activities, no, na tinatawag. CSR, ayan. So, TB control program is a practical way to demonstrate to the community that businesses care about their well-being. So, kasi naman usually itong TB in the workplace program, hindi lang din ito nakatutok sa workers, syempre pati yung mga pamilya, no, kailangan ding ma-screen or ma-manage, no. And as already mentioned, sick workforce contributes to an unhealthy economy, and we don't want that kasi syempre this can lead to loss of 20 to 30% in annual household income. So yun, malaki ang effect, no, not only in the country but isipin na lang natin, no, in every family. All right, so let's go now to TB. Just a review. I'm sure most of you probably na rinig nyo na, no, na ang tuberculosis ay dulot ng isang klase ng bacteria na ang tinatawag ay Mycobacterium tuberculosis. And usually po, ang target ng mikrobyo na ito o ng bacteria na ito ay ang baga, no? 80% of our cases ay sa baga, no? Pero meron din namang ibang organs in our body. Ang tawag dito yung mga extrapulmonary, meaning other organs aside from the lungs, no? Pwedeng TB of the bones, no? Ayan, so pwede yan, pwedeng maka-affect din ang TB sa ibang parts ng katawan aside from the lungs. Now, you'll probably wonder, paano ba nakakahawa ang TB? Bakit ba ang hirap nito masolusyonan, no? Parang ano ba, mas malala ba to sa COVID-19? Ano ba ito, pareho ba ito sa COVID-19, no? So, transmission, how is it transmitted, no? It's through the airborne spread of droplet nuclei. Nako, ano ba tong droplet nuclei na ito? So usually itong droplet nuclei, usually ito po ay, di ba pag tayo po ay nag-umubo or magbahing, ayan, or mag-sneeze nga, minsan may mga pwedeng lumabas ho yung maliliit yung mikrobyo sa air, tas may mga droplets ho na hindi natin nakikita, at doon ho nakasama yung mikrobyo. Tapos yun, pwedeng ma-inhale po yun, katulad ho na nakikita natin sa picture po na ito. Ayan, no, droplets from cough or sneezes by an infected person, pwede hong ma-inhale ng ibang tao at pwede hong maging sanhinga ng pagkahawa, no? Sana po naintindihan natin yan. So, importante din yung distance, and later on, no, dito makikita na kailangan alam natin how the infection is spread so that we can control it, para alam natin ano ba yung mga kailangan natin gawin para maiwasan ito. So, how would we know if TB will be transmitted or not, especially sa workplaces, no? Syempre, katulad noon, depende sa distance and duration of that contact, no, with an infected person. Syempre, mas matagal kayo nag-uusap, mas matagal ka nakikisalamuha sa taong may TB, no? Lalo na wala kang mask, wala kang protection, tapos malapit kayo, tapos buong araw. Ayan, so mataas yung chance na ikaw ay mahawa. Pwede rin na depende rin yan sa degree of infectiousness of that case. Yung case meaning yung taong may TB. So usually, mas nakakahawa ang mga taong sputum positive, ibig sabihin sa plema nila, nakikita na positive sila yung mikrobyo. Meron kasing may sakit ng TB pero yung plema negative, mamaya malalaman natin, no? At saka, so usually pag sputum positive ka, pag yung plema mo positive sa mikrobyo, at saka may cavitations na, no? Makikita usually din yung cavitations sa x-ray, ayan. So pag ibig sabihin ng cavitations, may mga uka-uka na, at ibig sabihin mo ito chronic or matagal na yung sakit na hindi na ma-manage. At saka yung environment, no, the shared environment in which the contact takes place. Usually pag overcrowding po tayo, overcrowding, tapos wala pa hong magandang ventilation, walang bintana, hindi nagsisirculate ho yung ating hangin. Ayun, it increases the intensity of contact with a case. All right, or with yung mga infected droplets, no? Ayan. Now, pagdating naman sa trabaho, no? Ano ba yung mga trabaho na at risk of getting TB? Okay? So syempre, ito yung mga makikita ito sa mga empleyado na nagtatrabaho or nakatira sa cramped quarters. 'Di ba minsan may mga ano sila no, in-house na tinutuluyan ng employees pero minsan overcrowded nga, kulang sa space. Ayan. Tapos may mga meron din tayong mga worker population no o mga establishments wherein there is a high risk of getting TB like our healthcare facilities. Bakit no? Syempre, yung mga may sakit doon pumupunta. So malamang yung iba doon may TB. So yung mga healthcare workers, sila ay isa sa mga high risk na tinatawag to get or to have TB. Alright? Particularly yung mga gumagawa ng intubations, yung tinutubuhan, 'di ba? Pag nahirapan huminga, ayan, or pag sumisilip no ng mga nung respiratory structures no sa healthcare facilities. Maliban sa healthcare workers, ito pa yung or healthcare facilities, ito pa yung mga workplace settings where TB is most likely to be spread, no? For example, daw oil and gas industries and plantations. Bakit kaya? Well, not all naman, pero depende talaga. Pero most likely ang cause ay cramped living quarters and potentially poor health conditions. Ano ibig sabihin ng poor health conditions? Hindi sila natitingnan agad kung may sakit, so hindi nalalaman kung TB ba yun or hindi. Mining industry, usually pag may meron tayong tinatawag na, I'm sure narinig nyo na yung silica. Yung silica po ay isang chemical po yan na common na nakikita sa construction, sa mining industry, na pag marami hong nalalanghap, no, it can be in the form of dust, no? Tapos pwede, or fibers na pwedeng malanghap. Pag marami hong nalalanghap, pwede hong magkaroon ng silicosis. At pag may silicosis ka, mas mataas yung chance mo rin magkaroon ng tuberculosis. Same thing with prisons, no? Ayan. Syempre nabanggit na natin yung healthcare facilities, saka yung mga businesses with large migrant workforce. At makikita natin ano yung common among all of these workplace settings. Ano yun? Yung overcrowding, no? Yung kulang sa space, no? So usually yun yung pinaka common na risk factor among these workplace settings, right? So other risk factors that we have to consider, edad, syempre, yung age, no? Usually habang tumatanda tayo, lalo na yung mga elderly natin, mga senior, syempre yung immune system hindi na ganun kaganda. Kaya at saka, 'di ba, usually habang tumatanda doon na rin may ibang mga sakit like hypertension, diabetes. So yung mga sakit ito makes them more at risk also or vulnerable sa TB. Alright? So nabanggit ko na nga, no, pag may iba kang sakit like diabetes and hypertension and HIV, no, yung human immunodeficiency virus, narinig nyo na rin po siguro iyon. Usually pag yung mga taong may HIV infection, malamang at sa malamang magkakaroon din po siya ng TB, no? Dahil po sa pagbagsak nga ng immune system, no? Ayan. All right? So, ano ba yung mga common symptoms or clinical manifestations of someone who has TB, no? Paano minsan nagsususpetsa na tayo, 'di ba? So, usually ang ano natin natin dyan ay keywords ay 2 weeks, no? If that person will have these symptoms, no, for at least 2 weeks or more, yan, medyo we can suspect, no, that probably itong person na to ay baka may TB. Alright? So usually ubo, no, yung more than 2 weeks ang inuubo. Yung iba, baka kayo rin, nakikita nyo rin sa movie, no, sa mga pelikula, may bahid ng dugo, yung plema, no, pag umuubo, no, yun. So, ang tawag namin doon, hemoptysis. Yan, so ibig sabihin kasi malala na siya, kaya may bahid na ng dugo. Pwede rin may chest pain, pero depende rin yan, ano, kasi heart problem. Pero yung chest pain kasi dahil din yan sa kakaubo, mahina, weakness or fatigue, walang gana kumain, malaki ang binabagsak na timbang, no? Yung syempre dapat yung baka sabihin nila kasi nagda-diet ako. Hindi naman gano'n. Yung bumagsak ang timbang ng walang kadahilanan, no? Bigla-biglaan. Bakit bumagsak yung timbang? Tapos nilalagnat, no? Or yung tinatawag nating night sweats, no? Yung sa gabi parang feeling niya yun nga may konting mainit ang katawan tapos pinagpapawisan sobra. Alright? So, pwede naman na yung mga symptoms na ito ay hindi lahat nakikita sa isang taong may TB. Pero dapat at least, no, like for example, yung cough, yung weight loss, yun yung mga common na mas nakikita din natin. Fever, no, night sweats, yun yung mga common. Alright? Sige. So, yun yung dapat magsususpetsya na tayo. Now, how do we diagnose? Siyempre, hindi naman ho tayo lahat doktor, no, or nurse. Kaya pero importante ho talaga ay yung magkaroon tayo ng high index of suspicion at para kasi pag na-identify natin ang isang tao na isa siyang suspect, no, for TB, kailangan na nating ipatingin or magpatingin yan or i-refer para maagapan kung kailangan nga talaga ng gamutan or hindi, no? So how do we diagnose? Very important pa rin ang medical history and physical examination, no? So ito syempre ginagawa to ng doctor or nurses natin sa clinic, no, or sa hospital. Aalamin kung paano nagsimula yung mga sintomas, gaano katagal. At syempre nagre-request na rin tayo ng x-ray, especially talaga pag may ubo yan, no, na matagal na. And then we usually classify our patients, no, yung ating mga pasyente according to their symptoms and according to yung ano nila, no, yung x-ray findings also. So meron tayong tinatawag na presumptive TB, no. Sino tong may presumptive PTB natin? Usually ito yung mga workers natin with 2 weeks or longer of any of the symptoms that I mentioned earlier, no? Tapos yung chest x-ray niya positive for TB. So yun, presumptive pa lang yun. Pero syempre, tumataas na yung suspicion natin na TB nga ito. Pero syempre, kailangan natin kasing i-confirm ito. So how do we confirm? So we need further testing para ma-classify siya as active TB, no? So ang active TB naman ay itong presumptive TB case that is either bacteriologically confirmed, meaning mamaya may mga karagdagan pang test na gagawin, o kaya minsan kasi sa mga malalayong lugar o yung mga tests are not available, no, but the doctor is there to clinically diagnose. Ano ibig sabihin ng clinically diagnose? Ida-diagnose, sasabihin na ng doctor na TB ito base sa kabuuan ng kanyang eksaminasyon sa kanyang history, no? Yun kasi hindi lang masuportahan ng labs kasi nga malayo na nasa far-flung areas, 'di ba? Nasa GIDA sila, no? So kaya pwede pa rin 'yon. Pwede pa rin siyang ma-diagnose basta doktor ang gagawa at may talagang basihan, no, para masabing active TB disease. Kasi pag ipagpipilitan natin yung mga test pero clinically, no, makikita mo, just parang TB na nga, may dugo na nga yung nilalabas. Yun na, kesa naman ma-delay, no, yung treatment natin. Alright? So sabi ko, maliban dun sa x-ray, no, meron pang karagdagang test na dapat gawin to confirm TB. Alright? So we have, ito baka narinig nyo na, yung GeneXpert na tinatawag, rapid test siya. No? Pag sinabing rapid, mabilis talaga siya. In 2 hours, no, ideally may result na ito. It usually detects, no, the bacteria. Maganda tong test na to kasi parang siyang 2-in-1. No? It detects the bacteria or Mycobacterium tuberculosis. And nalalaman na rin kung meron kang resistance sa rifampicin. Rifampicin is one of the first-line drugs for TB. So, kasi di ba, nauuso na rin yung resistance or antibiotic resistance. So, ayun din, itong expert, nalalaman na rin whether resistant ka or hindi in 2 hours. No? So, ngayon, we're fortunate that we have this GeneXpert already or expert dahil dati kasi matagal, no? Like although ginagamit pa rin itong susunod, yung tinatawag natin smear microscopy, 'di ba? Ito yung nagsasubmit tayo ng plema sa mga health centers or sa healthcare facility. Yun, ginagamit pa rin siya. It's a conventional test, no? And still confirms TB as a case. Yun nga lang, ang disadvantage nito, medyo matagal siya, no? Medyo matagal siya. At syempre, sabi ko nga may mga pasyente tayo na hindi rin positive sa sputum, pero alam na pwede pa rin namang TB. Alright? At isa pang test, ito TB culture. Yun nga, dati nung wala pang expert, pag negative sa smear microscopy, minsan nagre-request pa ng TB culture na mas matagal pa, no? This is another test para to be sure kung positive nga or hindi. And yung drug susceptibility testing also, pinapagawa din yon, lalo na kung nagko-consider ng drug resistance TB, no, na tinatawag. Ano ibig sabihin ng drug resistant TB? Ibig sabihin nito, yung first line of drugs for TB ay hindi na nagwo-work sa kanila, no, resistant yung katawan, hindi effective, no. So yun, and ayaw natin yun kasi yung mga susunod na second line of drugs ay syempre mas marami ng side effects, no. So ibig sabihin mas maganda pa rin na maiwasan talaga yung drug resistance. Alright? So yung sputum microscopy or smear microscopy, dati 3 specimen ang sinasubmit natin. Ngayon, pwedeng 2 na lang po siya. Either spot. Ano ibig sabihin ng spot? Doon mismo sa health center or healthcare facility or laboratory. Doon ka magkokolekta na 2 beses, 1 hour apart, or isang spot, o kaya sa bahay nagkolekta ka na, no? So yun, para 2. And how would you say if it's positive, no? Basta isa sa 2 ay mag-positive, then you are considered, or the patient is considered bacteriologically confirmed TB. All right? Now, napakagandang opportunity sa workplaces po na case finding, 'di ba? Dahil sabi nga natin, marami tayong workers talaga, at through annual PE, 'di ba? Meron tayong annual X-ray. So, 'yun. Magandang opportunity 'yun para ma-detect natin yung mga potential TB cases. So, yung tawag natin doon case finding. Kasi syempre, meron din naman na may mga kaso kasi na hindi pa ganun kalala, so hindi sila nagpapatingin right away. So yung pala, pumapasok pa rin sila at pumapasok. Ayun. So in workplaces, yan, perfect opportunity to find cases, identify mga TB suspects. Alright? Kaya nga dito rin na-highlight yung relevance ng screening natin during the annual PE. Ayan. So, case finding, syempre, di ba pag nagpa-positive, kahit sa X-ray, kahit sabihin natin wala silang nararamdaman, at least naiimbestigahan pa sila. Ano ba, magpapagawa ba ng susunod na test? At syempre na titingnan din yan ng ating mga company physicians. Alright? So yon. So nabanggit na nga natin, 'di ba, how to diagnose TB in the workplace. Pwede syempre through chest X-ray, no? Yun yung unang step, doon kasi sila na-identify pag nag-positive sila, no? Ayan. And then syempre sputum AFB or expert for the confirmatory yan, para gusto natin magkaroon na ng gamutan kung kinakailangan. But I would like to highlight the following, no? That in diagnosing TB in the workplace, it's very important that we maintain patient confidentiality at all times. Hindi ho pwedeng pagchismisan, hindi ho pwedeng i-disclose ng supervisor, or may TB yung kasamahan mo. Hindi ho pwedeng ganon, no? Mamaya nasa batas din ho, nasa policies rin ho natin yung patient confidentiality, no? Paraan po rin ito para maiwasan yung tinatawag nating stigma and discrimination, no, pagdating sa sakit na TB in workplaces. And then also yung company clinic should reassure employees, no, that if there's a need for TB treatment, na effective ang gamot. Ayun, kasi dahil nga matagal ang gamutan, maraming natatakot, isipin nila na baka mas magkasakit pa sila because of the side effects. Kasi 'di ba yung gamutan is 6 months, no? So yun, kaya very important an education yan ng ating patients, as we will see later. And then immediately notify the case, no? When we say the case, yun yung na-confirm na worker with TB to the NTP officer, no? Pwedeng NTP officer, minsan meron na kayo, may in-house, or pwedeng NTP officer in the community, yung partner RHU nyo or health center or partner na health facility. Ayan. Employees can return to work. Ayan. So nag-positive na yung patient, natingnan na, nabigyan na ng gamot. So ang tanong, kasi matagal nga ang gamutan, 6 na buwan. Does this mean that the patient will have to wait for 6 months, no, for he or she can come back or return to work? Hindi naman, no? Actually, employees can return to work once fit enough. Syempre, meron din yung clearance yan ng doktor na sabihin, okay, may go signal, ayan, and no longer infectious. Usually po, 2 to 4 weeks, no, of treatment. So ako po, yung pasyente ko, usually ang ginagawa ko po, 4 weeks na lang para talaga makapagpahinga sila while under treatment. And then, pwede na sila pumasok if okay na, and then, basta tuloy-tuloy po yung gamot, no, until matapos for 6 months. I highlighted this, employers should not dismiss employees with TB, no, or yung magkaroon ng discrimination na ma-terminate because of their disease. So later on, ma-highlight yan sa policy. And again, collaborate with the local NTP officer, pwedeng partner nyo sa RHU, sa health center, in case management, contact tracing, and evaluating the risk to TB transmission in that particular workplace. So, ito sana, no, yung in-encourage ko ang ating mga employers, ang management, na hindi naman kailangan na kayo ay talagang gumastos pagdating sa TB in the workplace program, no? Very important that we partner, no, with the different stakeholder agencies. Nandiyan yung ating local government unit, no, through there are pwede municipal or rural health unit nila or offices. Ayan, so meron diyang mga DOT center na tinatawag, no? DOT stands for Directly Observed Treatment, no, program for TB. So para hindi rin mabigat para sa inyo, and at the same time talagang para hindi rin maging mabigat para sa empleyado natin, no, because the drugs for TB are supposed to be free. Imagine niyo po kung i-out of pocket yan ng pasyente or ng ating empleyado for 6 months. Abay, ang laki pong kabawasan yan sa kanilang sweldo. Kaya very important na meron tayong referral network in place, no, as also highlighted in the TB in the Workplace program and policies. Okay? So yun nga, no, contact the local or regional health authorities regarding laws and regulations in the area. Para naman meron tayong partnership, no, na with the LGU nga, and even NGOs, no, may mga NGOs tayo for TB para magtulungan tayo, no, together. Ayan. So yung treatment of TB, meron tayong sinusundan, no, na meron tayong guidelines dito. Yung National Tuberculosis Program Guidelines, Manual of Procedures, once in a while ina-update po ito. So nasa 6th edition na po tayo. So usually bago ang pagbigay ho ng gamot, unang-una kailangan nga muna silang ma-identify kung anong klase silang pasyente. Depende kung kung saan ba yung TB, sa baga ba or sa labas ng or extrapulmonary, positive ba sa sputum or hindi, positive ba sa expert or in terms of sa TB o kaya rifampicin resistant ba, yung clinical presentations niya, at kung may previous history of TB or kung may nakakompleto na ba or nakakompleto na rin ba ng gamot dati. So yan yung mga parang basehan. And of course, the doctors po, can be private, can be public physicians, no, yung ating mga healthcare providers, then they will be guided by the guidelines nga, yung NTP. Tapos, ito, you don't need to memorize this. Ito, bahala na yung doktor nyo. Importante, alam nyo na ang gamutan nga ay usually, ang minimum is 6 months, no, usually. Okay, so mostly 6 months. So, depende yan nga sa mga characteristics, no, ng pasyente. So itong regimen 1, no, baka naano kayo dito, baka nabasa niyo na rin before, 2 HRZE plus 4 HR. Ano ibig sabihin yan? 2 months nung HRZE. H stands for isoniazid, R for rifampicin, Z for pyrazinamide, E ethambutol. So naku, baka iniisip nyo, naku, ang daming gamot, mahirapan ako lumunok. Meron ho tayong mga fixed dose combinations na ngayon. Kumbaga, yung 4 na gamot na yan nasa isang tableta. Pero hindi naman ibig sabihin isang tableta. Minsan, 2 to 3 tablets, no, depende sa weight, no, inaano rin yan sa timbang ng pasyente. Kasi after 2 months, ito yung intensive phase, meron naman maintenance phase, yung 4 months naman ng isoniazid at rifampicin na lang. Same thing with regimen 2, ito mas matagal, no, yung maintenance phase, no, 10 months siya kasi nga extrapulmonary ito, usually itong sa brain yung TB, sa bones, sa joints, ayan. So, yeah. So, depende. So, ito yung doktor nyo ang mag-decide, no, kung anong regimen. Basta alam nyo na meron tayong, ito yung mga na complicated in a way yung gamutan na hindi pwedeng iwan lang yan sa pasyente na 7 days antibiotic, no? Hindi. Talagang patients should be guided properly, no, sa treatment and management of TB. Now, since 6 months po ang gamutan, very important ang adherence to treatment, no? Ano ibig sabihin ng adherence? Meaning, well, hindi ho dapat siya papalya, dapat magtuloy-tuloy at makumpleto ang gamutan dahil ho pag biglang tumigil, pwede ho magkaroon ng treatment failure, no? At mataas ho yung chance na magkaroon ng tinatawag na drug resistance. Ano ibig sabihin ng drug resistance? Kunyari, 3 months kayo uminom, tapos bigla kayong tumigil dahil wala na kayong access sa gamot. So, umokay kayo. So, pinabayaan nyo. Okay naman kayo. Pero, so, pwede ho kasing bumalik ulit ang TB dahil hindi na kumpleto ang gamot. Tapos, next time na magkaroon kayo ng simptomas ulit, baka hindi na maging effective yung mga dati ng gamot dahil nagkaroon na ng resistance ang katawan nyo. So, yun, yung magre-resort na sa second line of drugs, no? Ayun. So, how do we promote adherence to treatment, no? Lalo na mahirap magpainom talaga ng pasyente, no, ng mga gamot, lalo na kung medyo marami ito. So, syempre maganda sana libre ito kasi mahirap pag out of pocket. So, ang maganda nga libre naman siya basta sa health center, sa DOT center natin. And directly observed treatment in the workplace should be in a private room to preserve. Well, yung iba kasing workplaces, meron silang sarili, may dots na sa sarili, lalo na mga lalaking kumpanya. So dapat ito, mga private room para hindi rin para ma-maintain yung confidentiality at privacy, no? At comfort ng pasyente. Tapos TB treatment support. So usually may partner kasi yan. Kaya nga DOTS directly observed treatment also, part ng strategy na yan ay merong ka-partner na magbabantay, magre-remind sa pang-araw-araw na gamutan, no? Yun kasi yung ng DOTS na dapat sa health center nga yan araw-araw, no? Or dun sa workplace kung dun man yung source ng gamot para talagang makita kasi minsan 'di ba kahit lalo na pag mga may edad na sabi nila oo pero yung pala nakalimutan nila uminom ng gamot. Kaya very important yung partners. Ayan. So the partner, the supporter must be well trained and supervised. And then yung the DOT appointment nga should be organized para hindi rin makalimutan ng pasyente. Now, why is the workplace a good opportunity for TB control activities. Bakit pinupush din ito ng DOLE? Ako'y natutuwa dahil katulad yan, may nilabasan naman na guidelines, additional guidelines ang DOLE for TB in the workplace. Bakit ba pinupush ito? Sa community naman, meron na tayong mga programa, may batas, may guidelines. Ba't naman pati sa workplace pinipilit pa ito? No? So, bakit? So, unang-una, workers attend on a regular basis. Kumbaga, araw-araw nandyan yung worker eh. So, pwede kang mag-conduct ng education campaign, awareness campaign, tuturuan sila. Ayun, communication systems are already in place. So, yun nga, no? Pwede kang magpaano ng memorandum, for example, magkaroon ka ng policy, no, in the workplace, no, yun yung communication, at saka o kaya kumbaga organized na kasi yung workplace. All right, tapos existing structure, services and facilities can be used for prevention, care and support. So dito papasok yung, kasi di ba may company clinic naman, saka yung annual PE nga, so yun, so magandang opportunity kasi gumagamit na ng existing structures, hindi tayo magsa-start from scratch. Sabi nga, hindi naman mahal, no, ang yung sa TB in the workplace program. You make use of the existing systems. And then employers have managerial skills needed to implement a control activity or program. So dahil programa rin ito, hindi naman ito medyo naiiba sa ibang programa, pero syempre dapat with partnership with the health personnel, the health personnel in the clinic, no, or in the healthcare facility, yung mga employers may skills sila, managerial skills, no, to implement a program. All right? So, syempre, na-diagnose na natin yung pasyente, ay yung worker natin na may TB, minanage na natin. Ngayon, how do we ensure that we prevent the spread of TB in the workplace? Paano nga ba? Ano bang pwedeng gawin? So, any employer can provide any of the following, no? And so, syempre, binanggit ko na to, education and awareness about TB, no? So, kaya meron pa seminar, no? May pa-seminar yan. Tapos pag may TB month or yung nagse-celebrate ng TB month, no, or tuberculosis month, inaano yan, no? Meron kayong mga activities for TB. And then referral of employees with TB symptoms nga to the nearest health center or facility. Kumbaga may referral network in place, hindi yung magkukumahog, hindi maalam kung anong gagawin, kung may TB na pasyente, sasabihin, hindi, magpatingin ka lang. O, hindi pwedeng ganun po. Dapat merong referral network, meron dapat policy nga and program in place. So employers with on-site, yung iba na mga sabi ko nga, may mga on-site health clinics can collaborate with or yung to offer the option of DOT in the workplace. Pwedeng dun sila may DOT in the workplace mismo or pwedeng i-outsource nga, no? Pwedeng private or dun mas madala sa mga health center. All right? For referring TB suspects for diagnosis and treatment. Now, according to the International Labor Organization, World Health Organization, ito yung mga guidelines so that we have to remember, no, in controlling TB in the workplace. Protect patients. How do we protect our patients? Itong mga pasyente natin, ito yung mga empleyado natin. Always respect the patient's rights, no? So lahat naman ngayon, importante, no, na kahit saang sektor ka man ng manggagawa, dapat ay ito ma-recognize na kailangan mong mapatingnan kung kailangan kang mapatingnan, no? So yun. At kailangan, especially when it comes to confidentiality and patient privacy, lalo na pagdating sa disclosure of information, yun. So kailangan irespeto, no, yung patient's rights. Offer social welfare benefits to TB patients and their families. So sabi ko nga, hindi lang naman yung TB patient natin o yung worker yung natutulungan, no? It is highly encouraged that the families of these patients are also given support. Anong klaseng support? Yung iba, yun nga, no, ibinibigyan ng advice or nire-refer din sa health center para matingnan, ma-screen kung positive din ba sila or hindi. o kaya nagpo-provide din ng social support in terms of mga special leaves, ganyan, no? And then help TB patients to tailor their workload to their state of health. So, ang tawag natin dito yung work accommodation nga. So, for example, naggagamot, tapos nakabalik na yung pasyente, pero nagagamot pa rin siya. So instead na kung dati mabigat yung work, pwede naman munang lighter work muna for 1 or 2 months and then ibalik na lang dun sa dating workload niya. Something like that. And also, when it comes to schedule, kung kailangan may clinic schedule siya, bibigyan siya ng opportunity for that. Yun yung mga accommodation, no? And yun nga, education campaigns, not only to the worker na infected, but to all workers para naman maiwasan yung tinatawag natin stigma. Kasi yun nga, alam naman natin, 'di ba? Kinakahiya, takutan sila, pinandidirian, ayun. So iwasan po natin. Maiiwasan 'yan pag na-educate natin ang mga workers. So aside from protecting the patient's rights or the workers' rights, we have to make sure na safe ang workplace. So how do we do that? So by developing and implementing clear management policies. Kaya ngayon DOLE nagpalabas nga na kailangan may TB in the workplace policy and program tayo. Kasi nandun yung confidentiality, discrimination, yung job modification, pati yung referral networks for management. Nandun isa-isa doon. Alright? Para maayos din ang pag-manage natin just in case we have TB patients in our workplaces. It's also highlighted to have environmental controls. Hindi puro education, puro pa seminar lang. No? So kailangan ng engineering controls like ventilation. Nakita natin kanina na isa sa mga risk factor for the TB transmission ay pag overcrowding, pag poor ventilation. So meaning hindi umiikot yung air, walang bintana, no? So yon para kaya kailangan i-improve yung ventilation, make sure na may mga windows are open or you can install ventilation systems. Ayan. And then syempre PPE, no, wag natin kakalimutan, pero wag naman yung PPE na for the sake of wearing PPE lang, no? Lalo na sa mga high-risk groups like the healthcare workers, lalo na pag sa mga TB ward, ICU, hindi enough ang protection if you'll just wear the regular surgical mask. So dapat N95 talaga yan. Alright? So yun. So dapat ang dito ay wear appropriate PPE. Okay? Ayan. So for the next few slides, no, very quickly lang, I'll go through the Department Order of DOLE, no? Ito yung guidelines for the implementation of policy and program on TB prevention and control in the workplace. Actually, matagal na po ito, 2005 pa, pero relevant pa rin naman po siya, no? This is actually mandatory for all private establishments. Naka-highlight dito yung awareness and education campaigns, adopting the DOT strategy, no, in patient or worker management. Hinighlight dito, no, yung social policy on accommodation, no discrimination dapat, at dapat makabalik pa rin sila sa trabaho nila after being cleared, no. Ayan. So and then this is actually available online, so mabilis po yan natin mahanap, no, at hindi naman ganun karaming pages, no, very light reading lang at talagang magandang guide po talaga siya for the employers. At online as well, there's also a sample template already for a policy. So i-adapt mo na lang, lalagyan mo na lang ng pangalan ng company mo, no? Ayan. Tapos pag mimitingan nyo lang how to implement it, but there's a sample template for a policy already. Okay? So it will be your guide, no, in implementing TB in the workplace program. And in addition to that is this, ito medyo bago-bago pa, this year lang yan. This year lang ito na ilabas, actually just a few months lang ago. So ito yung supplemental guidelines on the implementation of the safety and health measures for the prevention and control of TB in the workplace. So Again, highlight lang, reiterate lang that it covers all employers and employees in the private sector. Yung highlight yung access to health facilities or health services na nakalist. Kaya actually, ito medyo mahaba, 100 plus pages. Pero yung advisory itself, the guidelines, maiksi lang, 2 to 3 pages lang yun. But kaya lang siya humaba because it lists down the DOTS facilities, pati yung mga healthcare facilities na nag-o-offer ng PhilHealth Consulta packages. Okay? Kasi nandun din nakapaloob yung TB. No, TB package. At syempre, again, highlight yung work accommodation, kung kailangan mag-leave, kailangan light work muna, and again, confidentiality of records and reporting requirements. Those were reiterated in this advisory. Now, I would also like to mention that TB can be compensable, no? Especially if it is proven that it is an occupational TB, or ibig sabihin yung TB ay nakuha sa trabaho. And we have conditions for that. So usually you apply for employees compensation nga if if you have if you have a reason to say na it is indeed contracted in the workplace. So according to the Employees Compensation Commission, so ito yung mga nandito sa kanan natin, yung mga pwedeng occupations, no, that can yung tinatawag na high risk, no, to get or to obtain tuberculosis infection by reason of employment. So kumbaga, yun, like for example, sa mga healthcare facilities nga, lalo na yung mga catering, no, to patients with TB, yung sa mga nurses or doctors in the TB ward, pathologists, postmortem worker, laboratory workers, mga dentists, no, ano pa ba yung sa mga prisons, ayan, or any poorly ventilated facilities. Ayan, so workers involved in collection, handling, transportation, disposal of biological waste, yung may with silicosis, saka yun nga, if poorly ventilated yung or enclosed, no, at dapat documented. Di ba gano'n naman sa ECC, kailangan may proof, no, ayan, para masabing occupational disease talaga siya. Alright? So, we have a brief time lang today, but hopefully I was able to deliver these messages. Ito sana yung take-home message nyo na problema pa rin po ang TB, hindi lang sa buong mundo, but most especially in our country. Tandaan po natin, number 4 po tayo. Ito yung top na ayaw natin. Ayaw natin mag-top sa ganito. Alright? And then TB is transmitted by inhaling droplets from cough or sneeze by an infected person. So para maiwasan, syempre yung alamin natin kung paano ito nakakahawa. Alright? And sabi nga natin, the workplace offers good opportunities for TB control. Ayan. And ano yung mga controls na to? Pwedeng engineering in terms of ventilation systems, administrative like training, policies, and yun nga, wearing of appropriate PPE should be in place for TB prevention. And yun, meron tayong labor policies on TB protecting the rights of our infected workers and at the same time protect the health of others. Yan. So, yun po. So, ang challenge po natin is to prevent the spread and to act ahead. So what do we need to do? In the workplace, we can educate our workers. So we prevent by putting in place control measures. And we need to stop the stigma and discrimination. Pero the first step for this is you need to educate our workers na hindi naman dapat sila pandirihan or layuan, no? Lalo na pag nakapaggamot na, yung mga ganon. At saka syempre yung very important yung patient confidentiality, no? Provide management and treatment, no? Kailangan matulungan natin, matulungan ng management ang workers to reach out or to get access to health services kasi nandyan lahat, hindi kailangan mag-out of pocket ang worker natin. And we need to remember the family members as well. Kasi malamang baka nahawaan din ang family members. So let's not forget the family. Alright? So, yan po muna ang ating mga points or messages that I have to deliver today. So, hopefully po nakatulong po, and I would like to thank everyone for listening. And again, I would like to thank the Department of Labor and Employment for this invitation. Ayun po, sa uulitin po. Ayan, and I think I'm ready for the open forum.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Vivian, for that very informative and comprehensive discussions po. So ayun po, nabanggit po ni Dr. Vivian ang mga workers po na mas mataas na risk na magkaroon ng TB, depende po sa industry, at kung paano po makontrol ang TB sa ating mga workplaces. Naging mas aware na din po tayo sa mga signs and symptoms, at importante po na ma-identify natin agad ang mga ito at mabigyan po agad ng tamang lunas. Importante din po ang ating awareness sa mga ito upang maiwasan po natin ang discrimination sa ating mga workplaces. So kapag nagkasakit po ang ating mga worker o ating workers ng TB, i-guide po natin sila kung paano po makaka-avail ng libreng gamot. May mga guidelines na din po tayo on how to implement the program in the workplaces po. And nabanggit din po ang availability of health services for diagnosis, medications, and mental health support. So all we need to do po is to access these services para matugunan po natin ang sinasabing problema sa TB. Ayun, so Doc, we have some questions here po na sinend po sa atin. So can we flash the questions please po? Thank you. Okay, question number 1 po, Doc. What are the barriers to implementing the workplace TB program?
All right, so magandang tanong ito. What are the barriers to implementing the workplace TB program? Ang nakikita ko dito ay actually dapat walang barrier, no? Lalo na if meron kang occupational health and safety system in place, no? Kasi usually ang isa sa pwedeng maging barrier na naiisip ko ay yung sino ang mag-i-implement, no? Sino ang mag-i-implement? Kasi may policies naman, may guidelines na, no? Nabanggit natin kanina. Merong health services, sabi ko nga, hindi naman kailangan yung company ang shell out, no, ng malaking amount to implement the program, no? Pwede makipag-partner sa LGU or sa NGO, sa mga non-governmental organizations. So all the possible resources are there. So ang nakikita ko ay yung capacity of the company to implement, yung kung mayroon bang marunong, no, na mag-implement, may tao ba na mag-i-implement, ibig sabihin may health personnel ba, may doktor ba at nurse na nandun, no? So ito yung magiging concern natin, no, lalo na sa mga micro and small enterprises natin. Yun, so meron bang safety officer to ensure na may engineering controls ba to make sure na maganda yung ventilation. Ayun. So yun yung nakikita ko na barriers. But ideally, no, if nandyan na yung OSH system na tinatawag, ibig sabihin yung kunyari may human resources ka naman, yung kumbaga the basic system requirements, no? May manpower ka, meron kang policy, nandyan yung infrastructure mo kahit papano, the programs and services, no? Yung funding, kahit konti, I'm sure meron yan. So, dapat yung barriers na yan ay hindi dapat kadami, ganun kadami. And this is mandated, diba? So, dapat gumawa talaga din ng way ang company to put in place this TB program.
Okay po, thank you, Doc. For our question number 2. What are the rights of employees with TB?
Ayan. So thank you very much, no. Yung unang dun sa guidelines ng WHO at ILO ay protection of the patient's rights. So in this case, ang patient natin ay employees. So ano ba yung mga rights na ito? Syempre, rights to yung right to access healthcare services as needed, 'di ba? Very important 'yan. Kahit anong rank or anong position mo in the company, kailangan you have access, no, to the health facilities or health services as needed. Pangalawa, right to privacy, and especially yung maprotektahan, no, yung privacy mo in terms of like your status as a TB patient. Baka kasi mag-leak, no, may medical records mo pala ay kung sino-sino lang ang nakakabasa. Ayun. So yun yung very important na rights. And then rights also of yung getting the appropriate treatment nga, no, katulad ng sinabi ko sa access to health services and programs, and also yung rights to yung have to have yung work accommodation sana, no, kasama rin sana yon na isa yon sa mga services that that the management can offer. Kasi kaya ko yun gusto i-highlight kasi may mga companies na baka iniisip nila, oy, naggamot na ito na 1 month pa lang. Sige, tapos very tedious, physically tedious pala yung work. Bibigyan pa rin, parang ganun pa rin, no, yung work, no. So yun yung mga rights of employees that especially those with TB, no. Yun yung at saka syempre right to kasama na yung awareness, no, yung education to know about TB. Yan. So, yun. And itong mga rights din na to, hindi lang naman ito doon sa mga may sakit ng TB, no, but for all workers na rin.
Yes po, Doc. Importante po talaga na ma-protect din po natin yung workers po natin against discrimination po. Thank you, Doc. For our question number 3 po, ano dapat gawin sa mga kasama sa bahay ng taong nagagamot sa TB?
Ayan, magandang tanong ito, no, kasi kanina hinighlight ko na yung social support should not be, or the support should not only be extended to the, or should not only be to the worker, but should also be extended to the family members o yung mga kasama sa bahay, no. Unang-una, kailangan din ma-screen yung mga kasamahan sa bahay, no, for like initially for chest x-ray and also consult to check whether suspect din sila or hindi, kasi pwede sila ma-consider as contact na. Pero pag sinabi kasi nating contact, ito yung mga may exposure, no. Pero ang tanong, nag-develop na rin ba sila ng symptoms? So yun. So kailangan may screening for them also, o yung tinatawag na contact tracing, so that magamot sila kung kailangan silang gamutin, no? Tapos ang isa pa rin syempre ay kailangan kaya rin dapat sila reach out, no, in terms of ng mga health services para ma-educate sila na hindi nila kailangan ang tawag dito, katakutan or pandirihan yung kanilang kapamilya na may TB. Kasi usually yun yung nangyayari, di ba? So like for example, yung hindi na tawag dito, pinapalipat na ng bahay agad, yung mga ganon, nai-evict na sa bahay ni kuya. Ayun. So, meron pa rin namang mga necessary na precautions. Pero once na naggamot na yan, syempre sa una pa lang, usually kasi yung pagiging nakakahawa niya, syempre sa start yun, pero after 2 to 4 weeks of treatment, definitely wala na yun, no? So kaya yung proper advice should be given to the family members as well. O kaya yung like for example, make sure na well ventilated yung bahay, no? tapos magmasa bahay, especially dun sa during the first few weeks of treatment, no? Pero pag nakatapos na, like after 4 weeks na, to be sure, pwedeng okay na. Ayan, no? Tapos 'di ba meron yung yung kailangan bang ihiwalay yung mga kubyertos, mga plato, 'di ba may mga gano'n. Syempre alam niyo po, nabanggit mo yung mental health, no? Kaya nga rin lalo na yung medyo malala na po yung sakit, this disease, no, is serious enough for them to feel depressed, to feel anxious, kasi nga natatakot sila na baka sila pandirihan or katakutan, ayan. So or yun nga eventually ma-discriminate, no? So very important na ma-educate yung family members on what to do, because these are TB patients, especially mga workers natin, they need all the support, no? Hindi yung more yung lalo pang mas ma-depress sila dahil sa sila ay pinandidirihan ng kanilang family. So yun, as long as alam nila how the TB is how TB is spread, then yun, malalaman din how to avoid. Pero once nakapag-treatment na, lalo na yung after 4 weeks, then okay na rin naman. Pero I would like to highlight na they have to be screened as well, no? Yun naman yung importante din. Thank you.
Thank you po, Doc. For our next question po. Is it safe to work with a coworker who has PPD?
Ayun. So, I'm sure that's this is the concern of most workers, kaya nagkakaroon din ng stigma and discrimination, no? Pero as I mentioned earlier, as long as that TB patient, no, has undergone at least 2 to 4 weeks of treatment, that the TB patient is not infectious anymore, then kaya nga they are allowed, no, to return to work. Pero yun nga, dapat syempre after proper evaluation of the physician, para may go signal, pwede ka na bumalik. Pero ayun, after that, then it is safe to work, no, with the patients or yung mga workers that are still undergoing treatment, basta matapos nila yung 2 to 4 weeks na yun.
Thank you, Doc. For our next question po. Paano po if natapos na ang gamutan pero wala pa din po pagbabago sa katawan? Possible po ba na hindi na tinatanggap ng katawan yung tinitake na gamot?
Alright. So thank you for this question. Nabanggit natin yung maraming rason kung bakit hindi nagiging effective yung treatment. Number one, syempre, yung baka may resistance nga na tinatawag. Meron tayong binanggit kanina sa discussion na drug resistance, meaning isa sa mga gamot or dalawa sa mga gamot ay hindi effective, no? Ayun. So pero kasi naman yun malalaman din eventually, no? So pero yun, drug resistance is the number one. Kami monitor yung progress ng patient, no? Hindi yung first pagkainom mo ng gamot, babalik ka na lang after 6 months. Hindi. Actually monthly yan. Monthly ang check-up mo dapat kasi nga monitor yung response mo to treatment, no? Tapos another reason is that baka naman kasi hindi TB ang kaso, 'di ba? Kaya walang effect yung gamot. So further investigation should be done. Alright? So, yun. Baka iba namang sakit kasi yun, no? Kaya kailangan. Pero makikita rin naman yun, i-check ulit yun during the monthly check-ups, no? And then pangatlo, naiinom ba yung gamot? Baka naman may problem with the compliance or adherence to treatment. So those are the things that we have to check why the treatment is not effective, no? Ayun. So kaya nga very important dito yung monitoring of the patient, no, during the treatment process. Thank you.
Thank you so much po, Doc Vivian. I think wala na po tayong questions. Again po, in behalf of the Bureau of Working Conditions, we would like to thank our resource person this afternoon, Dr. Vivian Camacho, and our fellow participants. We would like to invite you next week to our webinar on Wednesdays with mental health in the workplace as a topic. Again, maraming salamat po, Dr. Vivian.
Thank you. Thank you sa uulitin po at magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. God bless everyone.
Maraming salamat po. Bye-bye po.
Para sa katanungan at karagdagang impormasyon, maaari po tayong tumawag sa Dole Hotline 1349 o sumangguni sa mga Dole Regional o Field Office na nakakasakop sa inyong lugar paggawa. Para sa katanungan